Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is a chill session of conclusions plus SITREP. Conclusions but SITREP. Because SITREP is more serious, right? So SITREP. But conclusion is so chill. Anyway, for the day, I actually forgot to change the title. Freaking hell, I forgot. Okay, conclusions plus SITREP, which is for the 21st of February. So 9. Yeah. So yeah, of course we are now in the 22nd of February. So this will include all the latest frontline changes that I've mapped in already, all the latest frontline changes. So yeah, so let's start off with where shall we go start first? There's some new updates. I think is it here? No. I actually forgot where. Okay. Well, luckily these were already covered. Okay, shit. I should just look at my okay, it's over at the Kursk front. So at the Kursk front, we have new updates. Remember the Ukrainian counter-offensive that was it was like greatly, raided, greatly, I forgot the word, really, greeted with fanfare by the pro-Ukrainian YouTubers, because I actually saw the headlines. Yeah, for 1 to 2 days. Half of it is gone. Okay, so the Russian forces have retaken Fanasievka, and because we have geolocation of Russian forces back in Cherkasskaya Konopelka, 3 different geolocations have been noted over the past 12 hours, because this is not noted in the frontline changes report. So this is the latest intel, with Russian forces basically have retaken basically the southern outskirt and southeastern outskirt of Cherkasskaya Konopelka. They have counterattacked, retaken all this position, and the fact that they are here does suggest that the Russian forces have retaken Fanasievka as well. So this is terrible news for the Ukrainians, because the entire attack is now wasted, like really wasted. So the armored vehicles, infantry, being dropped off Fanasievka, like all those was just for naught. If it's doing something and then realizing that you try really hard, then after that you realize that it's for nothing. It is very irritating, right? I just something that I felt like. So I don't know, but this wall is full of this kind of thing. I did criticize the same thing in 2022. Of course, I did not know the limitation of the Russian military those days, but I was criticizing the Russians' withdrawal from the northern flank, from the northern fronts. I say that those Russian soldiers that sacrificed their lives, wouldn't it be like for naught? Like they just withdraw, just like this, give up all the territory, then all those sacrifices for nothing. And of course, later then we realized that they actually don't have the troops to do it, to conquer Ukraine, and though those are contract troops, the contracts is limited, so they have to concentrate their efforts over in Lugansk and Donetsk, and so yeah, so that was the story then. Now. Yeah, I mean it's quite difficult, right? If you don't defend, then you defend, you die. Might as well go on an attack and die, right? So maybe that's the logic. Yeah, but yeah, that's just how it works. So that's this thing. So far, of course, this happened. This geolocated are recent. There is no reports of Cherkasskaya Konopelka being fought yet, at least not from the Russian side. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow in tomorrow's report. So anyway, or maybe latest report, just now's report. I don't know. I didn't map the reports for 22nd, because this is the 21st SITREP as well. So, but anyway, in the southern flank, we have the Russian forces attacking at Krylovka and Goevo. So, geolocation of yet another airstrike was noted in the forest, which means the Russians are really putting some pressures around this area. The fact that there is this major offensive happening over at Cherkasskaya Konopelka doesn't bode well for the Ukrainians. So, and this includes the usual bombardments in the Sudzha region. This time around, Oleshnya, Gogolevka, Zaleshenka, Gonjarovka, Sudzha, is all noted. There is also possible attack over in Merne and over at Magnovka. So this is possible. If it's not possible, then it's just shelling. So this is all noted by the Russian Defense Ministry's Kursk report. So this is something that, in the central region. Northern flank, there is nothing much. There is only the Malaya Luknia as well as Nikorsky. So this is noted. And then over in the western flank, we have the frontline change due to a geolocation that was noted yesterday. I reported this in the frontline changes report. The Russian forces basically have already taken Svidiklovo. The concentration of effort is now moving towards Luknia and Lebedevka. So that's currently what's happening. Kozacha Luknia is shelled as well. And Nikorsky was mentioned earlier. So as this is a conclusion, so it's a mix between conclusion and SITREP. So I'll just talk a little bit more. I believe the Russians are now going to retake all of these positions. So they have taken Fanasievka. I believe they're going to take Chekaskaya Konopelka and return back to Manovka and start to put this pressure on. And with attacks at Krylovka, I believe that they're going to try again to cross the river and do this flanking operation to the rear positions again. But tentatively, we shall see. We shall see how this continue to play out. Personally, I do not think the Russians are going to go straight through Sudja because from their experience, like in Bakhmut, going straight through just caused a lot of casualties, and you get the entire village or a town destroyed. So, which is not the best thing to do. And of course, before we continue, there is also all these rumors about the Ukrainians wanting to launch an attack into Bryansk, which is over here. This is Bryansk, and this is the Bryansk Oblast. Bryansk is very far away from the border, 100 kilometers. I don't think the Ukrainians can ever get that far away, not with what they have right now. And so there is all this. I reported yesterday's SITREP that there is a bridge blown up by Russian missile strike over in Yenzhulivka, which sounds really Chinese. Yenzhulivka. Yenzhu sounds like a Chinese name, so like Yenzhulivka. So we have, like I mentioned, this was all previous blown up positions. And people say that this is the evidence of the Ukrainians planning something big over here. Maybe they can plan something big, but is it around here? Like, we let's look at the geography. How are they going to get in Bryansk? Are they going to punch through here? So I think let's not talk about this area. I think this is a bit stupid. Maybe they can punch through this countryside, hit the highway, go straight down to Bryansk. And then they could potentially do what they previously tried before, hitting this highway. Then they will keep the Russians guessing which way they're going to going to Bryansk, or actually go the other direction, moving in the direction towards Orel. But yeah, I mean, to talk about realistic thing, I don't think they are going to be able to pull this off in a meaningful way. I mean, there is a road. And if they're going to punch through, they're going to get stuck at Pogar, and that's it. That's what I think. If they're ever going to get anywhere far, I think this is where they're going to get stuck. So, and I don't think the Russians are going to be willing to let them break through again, or at least that's what I think. So, the Russians most likely is going to have a much stronger defense line. As you know, there is this defense line that was previously mapped by another mapper. So, which tracks the frontline trenches. So they definitely left some openings around here. And of course, this entire forest is also left seemingly open. There is possible trenches around here because, yeah, they can't see it on the satellite, right? If they dig the trench in the forest, you probably can't see. So I say, yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. I think if the Ukrainians try something around here, Kursk is going to collapse very quickly. The Ukrainian soldiers defending at Kursk was like, what the hell is happening, because they are struggling around at Kursk, and then the commander sent another group of forces to hit somewhere, and then the Kursk people will start to feel exactly like the soldiers defending in the rest of Ukraine, thinking what the hell is happening when Kursk offensive first happened. So it's not good for morale, honestly, and I don't think it's meaningful. But of course, Ukrainians don't do meaningful things, so this is what it is. So other sector, there's another sector that have something. Oh, so at Orikhovo-Vasilivka, there is some geolocation of Russian pushes. So since we are here, we're going to talk about Bakhmut as well, but there's nothing much to talk about. so yeah, the Russians are pushing at Vasilivka. This is a continuation for a long time already. Since the 16th, and before that there was another 3 days of attack. So the attack in Vasilivka is seemingly continuing to go on. And long time ago, maybe there's quite a number of you never saw that report before because it was quite some time ago. I hypothesized that the Russians could potentially attack towards Raya-Oleksandrivka. Taking Raya-Oleksandrivka, they can go from any direction, from Vasilivka or through the main road, whatever it is. Hitting Raya-Oleksandrivka, they can actually hit all the way to Kryvylova, and then go for Zakine. Just by doing this, the entire Sivers front is going to be encircled. That's all. It's as simple as this. So I always see Sivers front as a very vulnerable place because they can do whatever defense they want here. If the Russians push through Raya-Oleksandrivka, this is gone. Because the only road left for the Ukrainians is this one through Zakine, and then this another road through Raya-Oleksandrivka here. And this links up to Kryvylova and whatnot, but still links back to the same road going through Liman. So this is the only road left. The other road is already taken by the Russians, which is going through Vasilivka, and of course through Fedorivka and whatnot, which is already taken by the Russians. So once the Russians get Raya-Oleksandrivka, they can hit up north, take this position, cut off the other one, and Sivers front will be encircled. Yeah, so that's operationally encircled. They can actually, of course, they can try to go through Dronevka, but there's a railway bridge. But you can see how vulnerable Sivers can become. So that is not that far away. But the Russians seemingly is unwilling to close up the Sivers because it seems like it's just a good place to drain the Ukrainian resources. So otherwise, the other big news, of course, is the big frontline change over in the south of Bakhmut. This is a quiet frontline change by the Ukrainians. They did not mention this in their reports. The Russian forces basically has closed down towards the canal, just off Klishevka. There is also some slight change near Stepochki, very slight one. So this confirms the Russians' control over the canal region. But that's about it. So it's very similar to our mapping. The Ukrainians probably can have positions at the canal, and the Russians are having a standoff position just off it, which is then exactly what our mapping shows. But essentially that basically keep the Ukrainians stuck at the canal. So that's what happened. Other big things happening, of course, we have to talk about Andreyevka. So let me see. Did I map this at the wrong date? Yes, this is the wrong date. This should be 20th. So this should be grayed out. So yeah, because that was mapped at the same time. So the Ukrainians have basically considered, accidentally considered this entire salient. The Ulakli salient is gone. There is no more Ulakli salient. And I did mention about the frontline changes, the front lines that are likely to be here. So we are getting closer. The Ukrainians have just given up this impossible salient of Shevchenko on the east of Andreyevka, and they are closing in the front lines at Ulakli. We have geolocation confirming the Russians have basically taken Ulakli. So there's unlikely to be Ukrainians here. Not possible. They are not possible to be here. This is open ground. Not possible here along the river. This is an impossible salient. So, and then the Russians are already at the southern part of Constantinople, basically cutting off the road. So if their Ukrainians are still here, then they are encircled. which I don't think they are there. So we're going to at least see the cutoff to this point in the next update, and then eventually, the concession that they have lost Andriivka. The frontline change, there's a geolocation of Russian forces at this point of Andriivka, which the Ukrainians changed their mapping from firm Russian capture to gray zone. This is again proven to be inaccurate. And so this impossible salient, of course, is impossible. So fighting is still being reported at Andriivka by the Ukrainian side. It's mentioned by the Ukrainians and Deep State UA. So this is happening. The battles are still ongoing in this region here. The Ukrainians possibly is holding some line of defense nearby. And if there is, then there is some kind of a Ukrainian encirclement that is trying to break out. That is a possibility, but they would break out and break into another encirclement. So that is going to be quite sad. From here, they break out and break into another encirclement. So yeah, that's just the situation. So and they themselves, the Ukrainians, also mentioned about Ulakli. Just note also that the Russians yesterday do a weekly update, so there is no Russian report. So these are all Ukrainians. So and somehow Shevchenko is mentioned on the 21st. So because that was because of frontline change. Yeah. So that's all. So that's all from the Andriivka region. Very complicated mapping of lines. But you understand because you are GigaChats. Only GigaChats can understand all these things. So and then of course the other big place is Velika Novosilka, where the Russian forces is now attacking towards Skuchny. Frontline changes at Novo Ocherutuvate does shows that the Russians basically have effective conquest of Novo Ocherutuvate, which confirms the Russian announcement of the capture yesterday. And there is also another update showing the Russian forces pushing up north towards Bulatsk. And if you look at the Ukrainian gray zone, suggests that the Russians basically just off Bulatsk. They map it, the gray zone goes all the way up here. So which might suggest that the Russians have reached here. But some tell me that no, just assume that Deep State UA's mapping, the gray zones are all Russian controlled. Makes sense, which I can agree that, yeah, for most cases it does seems to be that case. But so anyway, we shall continue to see how this play out. In the Zaporizhia, there is still no signs of major offensive. There is, however, fighting reported Pyatikaki and Shebaki, which mentioned by the Ukrainian side. So there is still operations around the Zaporizhia region. Geolocation of a FAB 3000 strike was noted. So things is really very tense, I think, in this region here. I'm quite sure the Ukrainian forces over here is feeling it. They are sensing some kind of big things about to happen, but they're not entirely sure. And honestly, I can also feel the same. I'm not entirely sure, but it does feel like something big is about to happen. So they need to brace themselves. I'm quite sure they already knew. There's no updates regarding the Kherson front. So we covered Andriivka. So let's look at Pokrov. At Pokrov front, over in the southern flank, we have not much news. Only fighting reported at Nedievka. There is, however, the Ukrainians mentioned about Molodetsky as well as Serhievka. So on its own, this is very disturbing because this might suggest that Russians have firm control over Udashny as well as Kotliny, which means that they are now able to push out towards these two locations. Fighting at Nadievka is still noted, thus shows that the Ukrainians have put a lot of concentration on defenses in this area, because I suspected Nadievka should have already fallen for some time ago. The Russians did announce the capture yesterday. So let's see whether the Ukrainians will suddenly change their mind and talk about Muravka and Kotelivka in their future reports. So that's a current situation. And if the Russians go towards Serhievka, of course, this is going to be, probably worse than just Russians cutting off the highway north of Kotliny. So battle over here would be the start of the fall of this entire highway. This is a not big, not small town. So it's a decent sized town. Yeah, fighting around here definitely will raise a lot of eyebrows. And yeah, something to think about. And if let's say we future skip a bit, a bit more ridiculous, some big arrow move. So let's make the arrow bigger. So let me wait. Big. So is it big enough? Yeah. So if the Russians hit to Serhievka, taking Serhievka, they go straight for Dubropilia. That will cut off this highway, and then they will cut off this highway, this link, this road, and the northern part. And if you go from Dubropilia, go up, you can see this leads all the way to Kramatorsk. But I don't think the Russians ever want to take Kramatorsk, not directly. So they could potentially go up north, go to Alexandrivka, potentially, cut off all this. That means build a defense line along the Donetsk border. Once they take Alexandrivka, they basically effectively cut off all the roads towards Kramatorsk from the west. So that will be quite sad for the Ukrainians. And then the only way in is from the north and from here. And then that's when the Russians will just continue to go up that direction all along the border if they choose to. If not, they can actually just go for Bavinkov, which would also work. So because when they go for Bavinkov, then they can go back to where they used to have presence, Izium. So you haven't heard of Izium for a long time, right? So if they go for Bavinkov, they can go for Izium. And to hit Izium, before this can happen, there must be some kind of big Russian offensive coming from Kharkiv. And we'll definitely see the Battle of Liman again. So the Russians definitely will go for a Battle of Liman. They're going to close down to Oskil. They're going to close down all the way to the Oskil River, hit Izium. And of course, there is some battles going to come out from the north. This Voreshna region is going to break out, cut off. Then the Russians are going to push out for Voschansk, and then take back Balaklia, go down to Izium, take back Izium, and then they're going to meet the other force coming from the south at Bavinkov. So and then the front line may look like this. But of course, I'm futurescaping quite some distance, and this is also under the assumption that the Ukrainians are going to continue to struggle with recruitment, struggle with getting munitions, ammo, equipment, especially with the geopolitics for Ukraine looking like shit right now because Zelensky cannot control his mouth, started to attack Trump, and then he don't understand how important is United States. Without United States support means no internet because they requires the what is that freaking device by Elon Musk? Skynet. Skylink. Yeah, I think it's Skylink. Yeah, they need the internet. No more internet means a lot of drones and communication will fail. Then they will need to have some kind of internet connection somewhere else. That will complicate communications. And then United States can also put pressure. They can literally just sanction Ukraine and sanction any European countries that continue to support Ukraine. Because it's not that they are anti-Ukraine, but they're going to force Ukraine into the negotiation table and force a surrender. So that is a possibility as well. So the fact that Zelensky went after Trump is just a stupid thing to do. He should really butter him up, but too bad. Donald Trump has become the God Emperor and nobody can stop him. So at Torex, there's now no much news regarding here. The Ukrainians continue to talk about Shchebenivka. Actually need to reduce the arrow size. So this is not big arrow movement anymore. So at Shchebenivka, now it looks so puny. Krimsky, Torex, as well as Didievka. Oh my god, I can't get used to it now because the arrows look so puny now. Oh my god, is it me? So the Russians have totally ignored Torex anymore. They don't talk about Torex. They don't talk about Krimsky because they already announced the capture for these two locations. So, but the Ukrainians are still talking about it, and let's continue to wait and see whether we got news. There's nothing at Siversk. Over at the Liman front, at the Liman front there is some news. In the latest information in today's SITREP by the Russians, which is not mapped in this map except for this information. The Russians have announced the capture of Novolubivka. So Russians announced the capture of Novolubivka, and however, the Ukrainians are still talking about the battles happening around here. Fighting is reported close to Ziazi and Terny, according to the Ukrainians. So there's the update over in the Liman front. Nothing over the central region. At Borova front, we have Kopanki and Zarizove mentioned by the Ukrainians. So so that's the main thing here. Nothing particularly special regarding this region here. Nothing at Kupiansk, nothing at Voreshna, because the Russians are not reporting. At Topoli, however, there's some major news. So this at Voreshna front, Russian forces geolocated literally in the center of Topoli, which means that the Russians most likely have captured Topoli entirely, because this basically is a pincer on both sides, because the Russians previously have a bridgehead here, and they could potentially have attacked from both sides, causing the capture of Topoli. So this is yet another possible place where they can screw up the Ukrainians, and this create a lot of threat point. This is one threat point. There's another one at Patny, another one at Kalinove, another one at Voreshna, another one at Vyholivka. All of these have potential for the Russians to just push up in all directions, and this is a very, very dangerous thing for the Ukrainians, which means the Ukrainians would have to build up a strong defense line all around here, which means more manpower going to be used, which is something that the Ukrainians do not have. And it's not just about manpower, also about equipments, heavy equipments like armored vehicles. You need also logistics, you need cars, you need trucks. So it's a lot of problems that the Russians are doing. So this is already a new front line that cannot be ignored now. And this is Voreshna front, and then we have the Kupiansk front here. So this is yet another front line that the Ukrainians have to worry about. And I suspect that the Russians could potentially start new fronts to tie the Ukrainians down even further. At this moment, it's still anyone's guess where it's going to be. Of course, starting a new front also can be costly for the Russians, but so far the Russians do have the advantage in terms of resources. Kharkiv front, we have no reports from the Ukrainians, and I already mentioned Kursk, so which means I might have covered everything. Yeah, so Bakhmut I covered, and then Torex covered. There's nothing in New York. Pokrov I already covered. They're covered. Yeah, probably not entirely. So over in the Minokhrad sector at the Pokrov front, fighting is reported at Promin. There is this geolocation of Russian forces basically punching into Lysivka. So if you ask me, I feel like Russian forces actually taken the entire Lysivka. Then this Ukrainian claims that they have some successful breakthrough over this area. So Ukrainians yesterday reported this, or the day before, and the day and the days before, they reported the Chansky success. So I don't think these are real. The fact that the Russians are geolocated here does make it very suspicious. So there's a higher chance that the Russians have already easily overrun all these positions and have gained either a firm or if not full control of Lysivka. So that's what I think is here. And in the northern flank, we have continued fighting. Now the Russians, like I said, they're going east, and then they go west, and then they go east, and they go west. So after this success of the Russians over in the Zeleny Pole region, the Russians are back at Vodyane Druhi, fighting at Elizabetivka and Sviridonivka. Sviridonivka. So that's the current situation. As you can see, they are now hitting the west side of this line. So later they will hit the east side. So then Ukrainians are now need to redeploy over here again. So if they do not have enough men, if they have enough men, then they don't have to redeploy. So I think I covered everything. This is probably everything of the Ukraine war. And so this is the CONCLU-SITREP, CONCLU-SITREP. So more chill session of a SITREP. yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, and of course, because it's a conclusion, so I thought a bit more about the outside thing beyond the battlefield. So hopefully this is helpful, and I do have to do 2 videos, because I really have not enough energy. I can't keep up. I can't keep up. I want to do other news though, but yeah, I only human. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Subscribe. Press the like button. Not difficult. It's more difficult, I know, for the people watching on TV because you need to scroll, like use the remote control. And I know that using the handphone is like very lazy, right? You just press back, and then just I know. But yeah, just help me. I'll see you guys in the next update.